Well, good evening, good evening, good evening. And listen, I need to welcome you to the pre-show. This is your time to get ready so that you are prepared for all that you are going to receive on tonight. And listen, I need you to take some deep breaths, breathe in and breathe out. We are going to practice our breathing on tonight. Tonight is all about one important word, rest. R-E-S-T, rest. We all need some reminders about putting rest first so that we are able to accomplish all that we are going after, all that we want. And this is your reminder to take some deep breaths and to simply rest. But as you get ready for our episode on tonight, remember, you need your vitamin M journal, you need a writing tool, and you need an open heart, mind, and soul so that we are able to discuss and interact all about the rest. Let's go get your vitamins. Well, good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to the Vitamin M Show. I am excited about this episode. Listen, I am Marchelle Sterling. I am your host. I am your motivator. Tonight, I am your hype girl, but more importantly, tonight we are talking all about rest. Rest. It's something that is important to all of us. It is something that is needed. And so on tonight, listen, we are going to keep it smooth. We're going to keep it low key, but we are going to bring you all the points. We're going to talk about the importance of rest and why we need it in our lives. And listen, I am one that is guilty of not resting and putting things in front of my rest, but we're going to talk all about that tonight. Listen, if I have to kick my shoes off, I may be doing a little bit of resting. I may be doing a little bit of intaking and thinking through this and taking some notes for myself on tonight. You know, I am always excited about you joining me on this journey, and tonight is the journey through rest. It's the journey through rest. It's the journey through putting ourselves first and making sure that we're taking care of us so that we can take care of others. Listen, so that you are ready for the show and you know our three objectives. What are they to do? It is to do what? What are we destined to do? To break down walls, to produce positive thinking, and to exhibit resilience amid any situation. And for us to show up in that space, what better way than to show up and to talk about rest? So on tonight, I am not here alone. I am excited to have a special guest. I'm excited to have someone that I call a friend, that I can call a colleague, someone that is just gonna bring us all the everything that we need to know all about that one important thing, rest. And so I'm excited to welcome to the show, Umeka Wright.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. It's great.
Good.
So good to be here. I'm excited to be here today.
So listen, thank you for accepting my invitation
Absolutely.
to come. I am excited to have you. Umeka, listen, before we get started and we're gonna dive all into rest on tonight, I want you to introduce yourself to the audience. Tell them about your background, who you are, your family, anything you would like to share.
Absolutely. I am Umeka Wright. I am the owner and founder of Making It Right Counseling and Consulting. I am a mental health therapist, a licensed professional counselor associate. I'm supervised by Dr. Stacia Alexander. I'm also a mom of 6, ranging from the age of 26 to 6 years old. I also am the director of student and employee wellness for my local school district. So rest is definitely important because I am busy like most of you. And I do not want to leave out that I am also the first lady of the Greater El Bethel Missionary Baptist Church, where my honey and my pastor is Dr. Slavosky L. Wright Sr.
Come on now. Yes. That's what we talk about. 6 years. So you have 6 kids. I don't have one. So I know that somewhere in all of this, You have to find that time for
Absolutely.
rest. So when we think about, Yamika, when we talk about rest, I know none of us, I'm going to speak for myself. Maybe you guys do. I don't think I ever get enough of it. And as I was thinking about this topic, I was like, man, guilty as charged that I don't all the time put it in the forefront. I don't all the time make time for rest. I keep going, I keep going, I keep going, I keep going. So when we think about rest, talk to me about define rest for us. First of all, like what is rest? Or like in your words, what is rest?
For me, rest is where we just slow down and our bodies repair itself, renew, and give us that relaxation that we need. Unfortunately, we live in a society where rest is seen as laziness. But if you're not constantly grinding, then you're unproductive. But that's not what rest is. Rest is a necessity. But right now it's seen as a luxury. But it's a necessity. It's a basic need. We eat, but why don't we feel like we need to sleep? Why don't we feel like, and rest is not always just sleeping. Sometimes it is defined for me as getting on social media and just sitting down, mindless behavior. So rest all the time, it looks different for everybody.
You said something that I think is a great point, because sometimes I think that I hear the opposite of what you just said. You said sometimes rest is it's just mindless activity.
Yes.
Talk about that.
Again, it is something where your mind is just you don't have to think, and you don't have to know what you're going to do next. And always, because we're in our culture is busy being busy. We feel like we got to be doing something all the time, because my husband pointed out a good point when we were talking about this topic. And he said, you hear celebrities say, oh, I get up at 4 a.m. and I go to the gym and I do this. And they line out everything that they have in their day. And then we feel, oh, that's what we need to be successful. But that's not what we always need to be successful. Sometimes, again, when your mind is just shut down, that mindless behavior, my algorithm on any type of social media platform is things to make me laugh. That is for me mindless behavior, and just turning off my day and just sitting down, and that's my rest.
That is rest. Talk to us about when we think about, but how do we prioritize rest? So how do I know that rest for me is, you said that rest is shutting down. It's mindless activity. So we can then define rest for our own selves in our own lives. So I feel like that we all need to define what does rest look like
for us. Absolutely.
Would that be a true
because
statement?
it looks different for everybody,
That's true.
especially because everyone's household is different. So where some people may say, you know what, I make sure I get a 30-minute nap every day. Their life is not set up to get a 30-minute nap. It may be, you know what, I'm going to have a throw blanket in every room. So when I'm able to just kick my feet up, I'm going to grab that blanket and I'm going to just kick my feet up and I'm going to close my eyes. You hear about in Spain and other cultures where a siesta is important and it is embedded into their days.
For real, listen.
But take a nap in the United States, they like, oh, that child lazy. All they want to do is sleep.
But why do you think that is why is that our culture though? Why is it that that's our culture? Because I'm found guilty of that. I'm found guilty of saying, and I don't know about you, audience, but I know for me, I am found guilty of saying if I'm not going, because it's, okay, I have to check this off the list. I need to do this. I need to do that. And even sometimes walking away from work is a hard thing to say I'm leaving. But why do we feel that? Why do we feel the need to have to be on that, to always be on the go?
And I think it's just the society that we live in and that we've created for ourselves is that we have to always be doing something. Otherwise, we're not productive. Or, of course, you hear the saying, you know what, I'll sleep when I'm dead. But baby, listen, I don't want to sleep when I'm dead, because I don't want the latter. And what happens is when we continue to push our bodies to those excessive situations, then we find ourselves closer to the latter, where our physical body starts to shut down. When we sleep, our organs and our brain functions and those things, they go through a renewing process and a repairing process. So when we're not getting that proper rest, your organs are not being repaired like they should be. And so then what ends up happening is later on, we see people that suffer from strokes.
Wow.
Different types of medical functions that because you pushed your body to the limit. Or you hear, oh, that child worked themselves to death. No. We live again in a society where we celebrate the hustle. We celebrate the grind.
I like that.
But rest is just as important as the grind. Rest is just as important as our hustle.
That's true. If we don't, because I just feel like that, Umeka, I think this conversation is needed because I think that we need to normalize.
Absolutely.
We need to make it a normal practice. It's okay to rest, because I've heard that. You hear that from so many people in so many different backgrounds that say, yes, I'll rest, I'll sleep when I'm dead, or they do that grind of getting up early in the morning, and then it's all the things, but you're, to me, not. And I just feel like that if we're not resting, then how are we being productive if we're not? Like, I just feel like maybe it's me and maybe I'm wrong, but I just feel like that, okay, I'm like, we're not as productive.
Absolutely.
If we're not resting.
You hit the nail on the head when it comes to making sure that we renew our bodies, because when we have lack of rest, it affects our cognitive thinking and our functions. It also, we're cloudy. We're struggling to concentrate. Think about a baby. And they get into stuff and they going around like the Tasmanian devil. And the first thing somebody will say is, you need a nap. Nothing changes but our height, our weight, and then our brains. But we still need those naps. Our bodies are still the same. We still need to sleep. When we find ourselves stressed out, the first thing some of us want to do is, you know what? I can't figure this out right now. I'm going to go ahead and lay down. Nothing has changed. So we have to make sure that we're still taking care of our bodies, and when it comes to that.
That's so true. That is so true. You know what? That's a good statement. When you're a baby, we'll tell her, we'll like, oh, you need a nap.
Yeah,
you need to go take a nap. Well, we don't do that.
Why don't we need a nap?
I need a, yeah.
Why don't we need a nap? And statistics and studies shows like that teenagers need more rest than an infant. So if a teen needs more rest, as we become older, we need the same amount of rest. We don't need as much rest as a teen, but studies show that adults need anywhere from 7 to 9 hours. Most people celebrate themselves for, I got 2 to 3 hours last night. I'm going to get my rest. If that ain't nothing else, I'm going to get my rest. I have to, because I am not productive the next day. You're cranky.
Yes.
You're irritable.
Yes.
You don't even have enough grace to give nobody. And your patience short. You're like, babe, I don't have time for this today. I'm tired. Think about that. As soon as you get up, if you're still dragging and you didn't really sleep well that night, it's not good for nobody at the office. Because, you want to be left alone. I can't people today because I'm tired.
That's it. I can't people today because I'm tired, because I don't want to deal with nobody else because I'm sleepy, because I'm tired, because you didn't. And that is that. Oh, yeah, I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Got to think about it. Wait a minute. We have to process through that rest, because you say I'm sleepy, I'm cranky, I'm tired, and it bothers, it messes with your cognitive ability, because you are clouded.
Yeah.
You are not there. You are not all in, because you're sleeping. And all you really can do is think about going to sleep. Because to me, I feel like your body can only do so much at a time.
Absolutely.
And if it's not repairing itself, like you said, at a certain time, then it's going to. So I feel like I'm going to ask you something, Umeka. So when they say that, because I've heard this saying, and it says, if we don't slow down, your body will slow down for you.
It'll shut you down. And think about some of the celebrities. We had a very famous celebrity. He's my favorite. And he was in some of everything. And then he was in the hospital all of a sudden and nobody knew why. Sometimes we push our bodies to certain limits. And unfortunately, we end up where our bodies will sit you down, slow you down, and put you on your butt. If we didn't learn anything from COVID, we learned that we have to slow down, and the world will shut down so we can slow down and take care of ourselves.
That is very true. That's what I said. I think it's that you then your body shuts down anyway. You're going to stop one way or the
Absolutely.
other. You're going to stop.
Yes.
Like whatever no matter what it is, it's going to stop
gonna slow
anyway.
you down.
How do we prioritize rest though? So how do I because we almost headed to commercial break. So like one tip before we walk into commercial break or two, how do we prioritize? Like how do I make it important to me? How do I ensure that, like, what does that look like?
I always use the phrase, we do what's important to us. And sometimes when we don't see rest as being important, we struggle to prioritize it. However, you can implement small, just little nuggets into your day. With all this technology that we have smart watches, smartphones, the same way that we embed every other alarm or reminder on our phone, we can put that in our phone and just say, hey, slow down today, or go take a break. Your watch will buzz and say, you've been sitting too long, time to move around. Don't ignore the notification like me. Get up and go move. But you be like, oh, I ain't got time for that. Let me keep working. If you use Microsoft Outlook, you can embed focus into your day. But some of us just click off of that and be like, I ain't got time for that. Let me go to this next meeting. So being intentional about taking care of yourself and just getting up and moving 5 minutes on the hour, just 5, can help out.
That is so true. We do need to talk about that. Listen, we're going to take our commercial break. When we come back, we're going to keep talking about the importance of rest and how we intentionally implement it into our lives after these messages.
Get ready to be inspired. Coming exclusively to YouTube is the show that will lift your spirits and ignite your passion. Join Marchelle Sterling, the powerhouse of positivity, as she embarks on a journey to unlock the secrets of success and motivation.
This is the Vitamin M Show, where the M stands for what? Motivation.
From the boardroom to the classroom, Marchelle leaves no stone unturned in her quest to inspire greatness.
And repeating things over and over and over and over again, that is how you get it in your own head, and it becomes a part of who you are.
Get ready to elevate your life and reignite your fire.
There comes a time and a place in your life when you simply need to take one simple action. Stay quiet and do the work.
Don't miss the Vitamin M Show, Motivation with Marchelle Sterling, exclusively on YouTube.
Well, welcome back. We are still here. We're talking about rest. Umeka, we were all in. Before we left, we were talking about intentionally. How do we become intentional about our rest? And one of the things I know that you said was plugging it in on our calendars, and to then when our watches tell us to move. Actually get up and move. Yes. What else can we do to ensure that we intentionally incorporate rest into our daily lives? If
you old school and you're not up for using any, technology and things of that sort, go with just an old school Post-it note and put it in your calendar. I know when you work in the corporate world, you get 2 breaks and a lunch. For us, we work in education, and sometimes those 2 breaks and that lunch, it may not happen. But let me tell you something. I'm going to get my breaks and my lunch. Sometimes I get up and I walk the outside of the building. When I used to be at one central location, I would walk over to the grocery store and walk back. But I was just intentional each day about getting up and just moving around, making sure I don't care if I need to go around the office and talk to people, go down the hall. We got a child care unit, go look at the children down there. And I am a stickler for eating my lunch. Even when I was on a campus, they knew I'm going to take my lunch. I don't care what time it is. And I'm going to get in my car, though, because if you in the office, they coming in still. So I would physically go out to my car, move it around to the back of the school, and sit in the car and eat my lunch. Even if it's for 10 or 15 minutes, we have to be intentional. So Principal Sterling, you have to be intentional. Sometimes I hit some of y'all campuses and it's 3:00 and you're like, oh, I'm eating an apple. That's your lunch?
That was me, yes.
You got to remember that fuels your body. It fuels us, and we have to have that. And so that's incorporated. And also use that time to rest.
That's true.
Regroup, fuel your body, and then hit the ground running after that.
You said I'm guilty. I don't know about you guys, but I am definitely guilty of that. Because you get you get caught up, and I'll get caught up in the day. I will get caught up in the visiting kids, or the teacher needs something, and so true that if I sit in my office, I can give it up. They're gonna walk in, and then I'm looking at my food, and I'm like, okay, but you know what, that intentional, but I like the intentionality behind get in your car and go and move somewhere. Go and move somewhere so that then you do, and that is a rest. That is an opportunity to take a rest. You're taking a rest and you're fueling your body at the exact same time. I do like that. You also have some other background here, ma'am, that we need to talk about. Let's talk about this other background. You work with athletes, and come on.
Oh, I do. That is my heart's passion project. I'm a mom of those 6 kids that I told you about. 4 of them are athletes. We have 2 that ran track, Division I track scholarships, and then 1 that plays basketball on scholarship right now at Weatherford College. And then we have our last high schooler. Well, not last because we got an elementary kid, but we have a high schooler that's in the recruiting process now. And so just going through that recruiting process with our babies, we were able to see the anxiety and the depression and just the mental health and the toll that it took on them throughout that process. So that is my passion. I love to talk with athletes and coaches because coaches don't realize how they affect what the student athletes are dealing with. So just being able to talk to those athletes about taking care of their bodies, making sure that they rest, because when I was an athlete, we practice at school, we do our homework, and then we go home. Now you have practice during the athletic period. That's probably during the day, early around lunchtime. You practice after school. And then if you're trying to make sure that you play at the next level, you're doing some type of outside training.
Yes.
And then you need to do homework because you're still a student at that time. And then at that point, you got to get up because high school starts so early in the morning. So when are they actually resting? So that's my baby, my project, just working with those athletes mentally to make sure that they are properly taking care of their bodies.
That's what I'm saying. How does so when you think about that, you saying that you help them to properly take care of their bodies and their mental, but how does rest impact our mental health?
Absolutely. Again, we struggle when we're not. Research have shown that anxiety and depression are linked to lack of rest and lack of sleep. So when you are struggling and you're not sleeping properly, the anxiety is on the rise. And then when those athletes or students or just people in general with high performing jobs, you're always anxious because you're not fueling your body and you're not resting like you need to. We have to continue to see rest as a necessity. Even that, we have to remember too, that when we don't rest properly, it breaks down our immune system. We cannot fight off those infections that could circulating through. I just heard last few weeks, it was like 4 stomach viruses going around. So if you are struggling and you're not resting properly, your immune system is low. And you out here just open to all kind of viruses and infections and everything else just because you're not taking yourself to sleep.
You ain't, bam, facts.
Just saying.
Very facts. Very good facts. What are your favorite ways? So we think about what are your personal. So I want to what are your personal favorite ways to rest, and to recharge? What do you do personally?
Absolutely. I told you my social media.
Yes.
I love to scroll on social media. That is my thing because I just like to laugh. So anything that I feel that is just that laugh that's gonna come from here, I like to laugh. And then I love just being in the gym with my kids. Whatever their passion is, I love helping them reach those goals that they're seeking from themselves. So I love being at their basketball games. They used to be track meets, but now we've migrated into indoor sports. So I'm grateful. In Texas,
be outside in the heat.
I'm done with that. So with that youngest one that we have, we want to make sure that he chooses all indoor sports. We're not doing no out. But then just also sometimes, like I said, having a throw blanket. I have a throw blanket in every room. And sometimes I just want to watch TV. I'll just binge watch a TV show.
I'm mad.
Yeah, that's my rest.
I am not mad. I think that I think this is a pivotal time that we prioritize rest because I feel like even as a nation, we're fighting all kinds of battles and things and all of these things. And so I'm like, we have to then prioritize it and put it on the top of our list, or it easily gets to mean thrown to the back because
Yes.
there's so many other things. It's all, well, my kids think. And I like your viewpoint. You said, and I don't know, audience, if you caught that, she said that I like to go to my kids' games. And so that is a form of, so to me, that is that adjustment in finding a spot to be like, you know what? Yes, I'm going somewhere, but at the same time, I am finding time to rest.
Yep. It's my happy place. And so whatever our happy place is, sometimes
like
there's
that.
rest for us when we find what fills our bucket. And so I think when it comes to that, we have to look at those things and figure out, because a lot of people don't even know what fill their bucket, because
That's okay. But wait a minute. What's bucket? Talk about these bucket feelings.
you know,
Hold on.
because I look at the world as a bucket,
Okay.
well, our bucket. So we have all these things that go on around us that empties our buckets. And so I always talk to my kids like, you know, we make sure that we're speaking positivity into them, speaking words of affirmation into them, and just praying over them and speaking life into them. Because when they go out into the world is going to dip in their bucket. It's going to flip it upside down, probably kick it down the street. But we want to make sure that they have all of those tools. And so I try to fill my bucket with things that I enjoy. And when you're constantly, you know, because we've heard the saying, especially in education, when you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. That's true, but not really. It's just kind of like an oxymoron, because yeah, I love what I do. And I know you love what you do.
I do.
But sometimes when we overdo those things, it starts to feel like work. And then we start to lose passion for it. And sometimes that's when it's okay to say, you know what, I need to step back, I need to reframe, and I need to regroup.
I think so.
Yes.
I think that's a very good point, because I don't think we give ourselves permission to say that it's okay to step back.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't, and I know that, and I can speak for myself, but I have to remind myself that it's okay to say, I can't get that. Like, okay, you know what? Not now. And reprioritize. We make priority list. And then I'll say, you got to reprioritize the list. Because sometimes, you know, you have your list and you're like, okay, I'm going to get all these things done. And then something comes up and you're like, okay, well, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me readjust. Let me readjust my list so that it actually then works out. And sometimes some of it that I have on the top comes to the bottom because something else has come.
And just keep moving it around.
Yeah,
and being okay with that. And you know,
true.
in COVID, we learned that the word that everybody was using, we're going to pivot. It is okay to pivot. If we ain't learned nothing else, we learned that it's okay to pivot, because it is some things that stay on that list over and over again. And be okay with that.
I'm telling you.
Be okay.
That is the one thing that I think that I walked away from a former supervisor I used to work for, and that's what he would always tell us as principals over and over again. And this is a reminder to me to remember that, because he would talk about that. He was like, you know, you have this priority list, but you have to learn to adjust it. And then sometimes there are some things that end up staying on the list. Like, it may be the end of the year because it's like because there were other things that had to get bumped up and to come on the list, and it's okay not to get to everything on the list. But I just don't think we
start to feel guilty.
Yes.
I'm not gonna say we, because I don't.
I'm learning not to.
But it took me a while to get to this point to say, you know what, I'm not gonna feel guilty for taking care of me,
ma'am.
Because we have to. Because if you're not taking care of you, it's your responsibility to take care of you. It's no one else's responsibility. But we get upset when we feel like others are not prioritizing us, but we don't prioritize ourselves. So it starts with us. The same way we teach people how to treat us, we got to show people how we treat ourselves, and then they will follow suit.
Just
saying.
I'm just, I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm just processing. But I'm laughing, but that is so true, because we have to then say, no, I'm not, I'm not accepting, even when it comes to my rest. And see, I can't wait till I'm there, because I can tell you, I'm getting there. Like, I'm like daily, I'm getting there to say, I don't have to feel guilty because I want to go and take care of myself, or I'm tired and you know what, I'm walking out, like it's gonna be there.
It'll be okay.
It's gonna be fine when I come back tomorrow.
It'll
it's still gonna be sitting there. Like I know that I'm not, and I'm starting to also realize, Umeka, that I'm not gonna get it all done. Like you're not,
Absolutely.
we're not gonna get it all done anyway. Like
Absolutely.
that, and to me, it goes back to that same stand on that hamster wheel where we always
We
feel like
just
we
don't.
gotta go, because we hear people talking about the grind. We hear
Yeah.
people saying you gotta grind, you gotta grind, you gotta grind, you gotta grind. And I'm like, well, do you really
You
have
don't.
to grind though?
And the thing is, sometimes we grind in pockets, and it is
Ooh,
okay for, like with us in the education world, we
mm-hmm.
know at the beginning of the school year, we are grinding. We're going, and that's okay. We have some late nights that we're
Yes.
working, but we still
Yep.
have to be intentional about that. And once you start to make mistakes, that means it's time to go home. And sometimes that means you're tired. And I have a coworker who be like, you over there messing up. It's time to go. Let's get your things and let's get on out. And my husband say that to me as well. You know what? You making mistakes. Come on to the house. Because think about it. You mess up everything that you've actually been trying to work on because
So
you're like, let me just do this one last thing. And then you actually end up getting it all wrong. And then you have to redo it anyway. It's okay just to take a step back and
that,
grind in increments, not
that's it.
necessarily 24/7, 365
So,
days a week.
because we don't. I really do. I think we can increase our productivity when we,
Absolutely.
like, I just feel like, I mean, I don't know, I just feel like we can increase the productivity when you decrease sometimes the grind, and you
Yep,
grind in pockets, because
that's
I'll
it.
notice that when it starts to you get the foggy brain,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm like, okay, it's time to,
Lack of concentration. It's like Charlie Brown. Wah, wah, wah. You're like, what did they just say? Because you're tired. You're foggy. You cannot concentrate because you need to rest.
that's true.
Yeah.
That is so true. We are coming up on our time. Umeka, what is the one most important thing when you think about rest?
Mm-hmm.
Of all the things that we've talked about, all the
Absolutely.
things that we have shared on today's show, I will share that one of the things that I have incorporated is breathing. And so like
Absolutely.
just taking a lot of deep breaths
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. And even sometimes, even before I walk into a situation when I'm gonna deal with a student
Yes.
or anything, a
Mm-hmm.
parent, I need to stop, I need
Right.
to breathe. And I'm like, okay, hold on, give me a
Absolutely.
minute.
Yeah.
But of all the things that we've talked about on our show tonight, like what would be like the biggest, like the most important takeaway that you
Absolutely.
want the audience to walk away with? What is that? What is that thing that you need, like
Yes.
do this?
And so what you said that you do, which is breathing, and
Mm-hmm.
what we call it is grounding, just kind of being present. And in that moment, like you said, I'm going to take a deep breath before I walk into this because it may be something heavy. But I really want everybody just to take away normalizing the importance of rest. It's something that's needed. Rest is not a luxury, it's a necessity. We have to reframe it. We have to shift our perspective when it comes to
I like that.
slowing down
Mm-hmm.
and taking care of our bodies. The same way when it comes to just, we need your work-life balance, start there. Work-life balance, but it makes sure that you are incorporating rest into all of that. Sometimes
Love
we
it.
just work, and then we try to slow down when we are forced to slow down. But just normalizing that rest is important and it's a necessity. It's a basic need and we need to meet it every day.
Agreed.
Yes, ma'am.
How do we I am guilty of not resting. This is going to be a reset, normalizing rest, putting it as a priority and making time for it in all the busy and all the crazy. So how do we follow you? How do we follow you? How do we find you?
Absolutely.
All the things.
I am on social media, Making It Right. So you can find me on Instagram, also on Facebook at Making It Right, and then on Twitter, I am there for the athletes under Game Changer Mental Health.
Awesome. Thank you, Umeka. I really appreciate you coming. Audience, this has been your Vitamin M. It is all about rest. I hope you have takeaways, things that you're going to incorporate, and you need to prioritize. So our goal is to prioritize and to normalize rest. This has been your Vitamin M, and we will see you on next week.
Join us next week to get your weekly dose of Vitamin M. Please visit our website at www.marchellesterling.com.